discuss the island's big issues beyond headlines and press conferences. I'm your host, Tarai Trott, with the Department of Communications, and I'm very happy to have with me today the Deputy Premier and Minister of Housing and Municipalities, the Honorable Zane DeSilva, who is here to give us an update on current housing initiatives, new housing developments in the pipeline, and the government's long-term affordable housing strategy. Minister, welcome to Leaders on the Record.
Thank you, Tarai. It's great to be here and spend some time with you.
Minister, housing, the number one issue in Bermuda, arguably, a challenge to successive governments. How serious is the situation right now?
It's very serious on several different points. We have a lack of housing in Bermuda. We have a waiting list for homes that is stretching close to 360 families, and that equates to about 1,100 people. And it's to a stage where you hear the stories, I'm sure you have, Tarai, of folks living with relatives, living with friends, living in cars, camping out because they can't find places to stay. So it's very, very important. And we are at, in my view, a critical stage in housing in the country.
You said the situation is very serious, Minister, and that brings us to the affordable housing draft strategy that the government has been talking about, that you've been talking about. For those who haven't heard about it or hearing about it for the first time, can you tell us what does it actually mean for the people in Bermuda?
Well, you will know that it's the first time we've had a ministry dedicated to housing. So what I've been tasked with is doing just that, producing housing for our people. So what we've been doing is developing a short-term plan, but we also need a long-term plan. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. So I think that we are well on our way, and as you will know, we've produced a draft 10-year strategy. It's gone to Cabinet, and the Permanent Secretary and technical officers and myself have been having meetings every week, day to day. We produced the strategy. The strategy is now being distributed to entities within the government. That's cross ministries. We wanted to make sure, because it crosses many. Planning, seniors, my ministry obviously, finance, all those ministries have to be in tune with what our plan is. So the challenge we have in Bermuda is that, and you will know this, is that the cost of housing and construction in the country is large. And it's been estimated that construction at the moment is costing between $700 and $1,000 per square foot. Not only that, but as you know, Tarai, if you just build a 3-bedroom cottage, you're looking at 12 to 14, 16 months to complete it from start to finish. That's not going to cut it for the people that are in desperate need. So what we've been doing, and it's included in the plan, is that we have a two-pronged attack. We have to produce as many homes we can as quickly as we can. We cannot do that through traditional build alone. Mm-hmm. So we've been looking at alternate construction methods, and those are precast, prefabricated, and modular housing. So we've spent the last several months looking at companies all over the world that we can talk to about that, whether it's precast, modular housing, or prefabricated. And you know, there was some talk about expandable containers. I couldn't get the expandable containers to get the height that we needed, so I shelved that for the time being. And you will know that I announced that we have 9 capsules, modular capsules, coming to the island in the next 3 to 5 weeks, which will be for emergency housing. And those are studio units. Mm-hmm. So that is, in a nutshell, what we're doing. But the one thing that I want to do, Tarai, is we've also had many talks with financial institutions in the country with regard to financing these projects. I don't know if you've heard me say it, but I'm starting to say it publicly more, is that I want to produce between 100 and 200 homes in the next 12 months.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. In fact, a good friend of mine said, Zane, you're never going to do that. You're never going to do it. I disagree. My goal is to hit this from all the angles that I just described, whether it be precast or modular. We've got our people talking to the engineers, architects overseas with several different companies, whether it be modular and precast. I think we are on the cusp of making a decision, and that decision will be to use maybe both precast and modular units, because as I've identified 30 sites on the island, 5 sites in particular, where we're gonna start these homes. And that being said, if all goes well, I hope in the next couple of weeks to make a major announcement in the country that we will finance and start construction for 100 to 200 homes.
These are affordable rental units.
These are affordable rental units.
A quick question about the construction, Minister, because this comes up from time to time. There's a perception that modular units or precast and prefabricated are so-called cheap. And this is all just a quick fix. Is it a quick fix?
It's quick, but it's not just a fix. You might recall, and I know you're a little younger than me, we had units, prefabricated units at Frog Lane, Bose Island, and down in the east. Those units are still, and they were built in the 80s.
I believe Cedar Park is also prefab.
Park, that's right. So those were built in the early 80s, in the 80s, 90s. They're still there. And you will know, Tarai, with the passage of time and the improvements in technology and building techniques, that they're only gotten better.
Question about Bose Island modular units you talked about. There were concerns from, well, first of all, can you tell us what were the plans for Bose Island? There were a number of units for emergency housing purposes.
Yes. We are using the land that belongs to Bermuda Land Management Company. It's a plot of land that's to the northeast of Bose Island Field. You have the village, which is over the other side of the field, probably about half a mile away. So we decided on that site because the infrastructure's there, which makes it nice and easy. But we are bringing in 9 capsules, studio capsules, to put in this area. And we thought that would be the best fit for it at this time.
And talking about Bose Island, there were some concerns from area residents, and I believe you held, in the last couple of months, you held meetings with these residents about their concerns. What came out of that consultation?
Actually, I thought it was a very good meeting. We had maybe 100, 150 people there. We had 3 people that strongly objected, but for the most part, folks seemed to be fairly happy with the explanations that were given as to why we chose Bose Island Field. But what came out of that is that we were pressing ahead with plans, get the plans into planning so we could get permission to get started. But what we did do as a result of that meeting was there were concerns about the landscaping, the hedges, what kind of buffers were there between Bose Island Field and the road and this site. So we changed that around. And also there were some concerns about the proposed driveway entrance into it. As a result of that consultation, we changed the driveway from the eastern side of the site to the northern side of the site. So I think,
You found a medium
we did.
in which to proceed.
We did. You will know, and one thing we have to, I think, emphasize as we move forward with this housing challenge in the country, Tarai, is that I think most Bermudians today are very compassionate, caring people. And as we move forward with these plans, because you're talking about, if I have my way, I'd like to build 300 or 400 homes in the next 18 months.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a tall order. But I would like to do that. Now, we have the sites. But what I would ask people to do is say, listen, let's remember, as I told some of my friends that I grew up with at Bose Island, when I was at the meeting, I said, listen, I grew up on this site. And it was government housing then that I stayed in. And we have to remember that we only have 20 square miles. We have a lot of people that need housing. I have to believe that our people are going to be compassionate before they say, not in my backyard.
Which is a common issue in Bermuda when we talk about new developments or something that is experimental. Successive governments encounter what's called NIMBY.
That's right, not in my backyard. And I would just emphasize to our people, we know what that feels like. I know, I lived it, so I know it. What I would say is trust that the government of the day, whoever that may be, with the technical people that we have at our disposal, that we are not going to build just homes, put people in a box and stick them in your backyard. We are going to, certainly under my tenure, we're going to be thoughtful, mindful. We're going to talk to the people that we put in these homes and have a serious come to Jesus talk and say, listen, We're going to put you in these homes, look after them like it's your own. Because we know what's happened in the past in some of the developments that we've done. And we've got to, our people have to take pride. These are going to be brand new units. And we need people to take pride. Treat it like it's your own and be mindful of your neighbors.
You touched on it briefly about projects, affordable units, construction already in the works. And I believe the BHC has pledged by mid-year 2026, some 37 new affordable units will be brought online. Can you talk about some priority sites?
But let's talk about what's going on now. We currently have Harmony Hall, which is going to bring on 16 units.
In Paget, yes.
In Paget, yes. We have Middletown, and we have 4 two-bedroom units here that are coming online. Now, these are all coming online in the next 2 to 6 months. And we also have the Chelsea down in St. George's, which is 2 3-bedroom units and 3 2-bedroom units. And we also have another 12 units at the Battery in St. George's. All these will be coming online this year, which is 37 new units.
37 units. But people will say, to play devil's advocate, Minister, people will say 37 units online later on this year, but that still falls short of the current demand.
And it does. And it does. And they have a right to say that, which is why I talked about earlier. My goal is to build 100 to 200 homes in the next 12 to 18 months.
What do you say to people who feel that progress overall is too slow when it comes to constructing units?
I will agree with that in the past. But, as I keep saying,
we have a new strategy and we have a new minister.
We have a new strategy, we have a new minister. We also are developing a 10-year plan. That 10-year plan should produce maybe 1,000 to 1,500 homes in the next 10 years.
The wait list keeps growing with the Bermuda Housing Corporation. It grew by, as you mentioned already, I believe 24 people in the final 2 months of 2025. If I can ask you on that note, at the end of the day, what does success look like to you personally when it comes to the goal of providing affordable housing beyond just constructing units?
Success to me would be no waiting list at all for homes. That would warm my heart tremendously. It would be fantastic. As you said, that list grew from 333 to 357 between November and December. But the interesting statistic, Tarai, in those numbers was that we are now starting to get folks that have jobs. Talking about a married couple, maybe with a child or two, that have jobs, solid, secure jobs, that are now adding their names to the list. They're just looking for something more affordable. Now, if I have my way, and I can't wait to announce to the country what the plans are for the next 12 months. I just got a few more T's to cross. And I'm super excited about it because the naysayers are already saying no. There is no way that I can produce 100 homes in a year. I'll be as bold to say I want to try to do 200 or 300 in the next 12 to 18 months. And if I'm really lucky, I'll get 400 built. If I can get that done, and I have a lot of confidence that I can certainly make some deep inroads to that, and I make that announcement, I think we'll have some naysayers, but it's going to give people hope. And if I have my way, I'll be successful.
Another time, Minister, we're on the issue of demand for housing. And one statistic I saw from the Bermuda Housing Corporation was that 60% of demand, as of last check, from people, their clients, was for studio or one-bedroom units. What do you think is going on there?
The research that we've done shows us several things. First of all, you will know that our senior population is growing. Our seniors are living longer. They're staying healthier. So what happens is you have more seniors that are looking at independent living. I don't know if you know it or not, Troy, but I'm a senior now too.
You don't look like it.
Right? So, but what happens is we are living longer, we're healthier. So seniors will need more. They want their own homes. They don't want to go to a rest home when they're 68 years old, 70 years old. They want their own homes. So what happens is, and the senior population is growing quickly. Additional to that, the research that we have completed shows that students, when they finish school, and I don't know what you done when you finish school, but a lot of students when they finish school would come back home, live at mom and pop for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, save some money before they went out on their own. And what's happening now is we're finding that when a lot of our children are finished schooling, They come back home, they want their own place. And what do they want? Studio apartment or one bedroom.
Well, Minister, our time with you is just about up. Any final thoughts?
The only thing I would finish with is that in the next couple of weeks, I hope to make an announcement that will be fantastic for the country and the people that are waiting for homes. I'm looking at getting the financing for a couple of hundred homes. And once I cross that T, we're going to blaze a trail to building homes in the country.
I expect that we all will be standing by for that news once it comes out from you. Well, thank you, Minister, for your time today. You've been listening to the Deputy Premier and Minister of Housing and Municipalities, the second episode of Leaders on the Record discussing affordable housing. I'm your host, Tarai Trott. Thank you for listening, and until next time.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.